professor, but more importantly, he's a friend of the show and the KTRS legal analyst. Good morning, Greg Willard.
McGraw, good morning.
Good to have you here. Let's talk Hillary Clinton email scandal. What is so much? There's a cacophony of noise in all of this, and everyone's trying to spin it for their benefit.
Sure.
So what actually came out? What do we know, and how serious is this?
Let's see if we can break it down into three categories.
Right.
This all stems, McGraw, from last year when Mrs. Clinton revealed that she used a private email server that was based in her home in Chappaqua for all of her official emails.
Got it.
There was a court order that she had to produce her official emails. She had 65,000. She deleted and destroyed 34,000. She claimed that those were personal.
Got it.
She then turned over 31,000. Those are being reviewed by the State Department and the intelligence community. The issues fall into three categories. Category one, did she comply with the Federal Records Act? If you work for the federal government, you have to keep your records for the archives.
Right.
Category two, were any of those emails stamped classified? And category three, the much more serious category, was there any top secret or SAP, Special Access Program, information in those emails?
Okay, so I, being a layman here and not trying to have any political axe to grind, when the government sends an email, shouldn't they know that they're sending it to a secured email server?
Oh, most definitely, and I think that's one of the criticisms that has been made of Mrs. Clinton. On the category one, did she comply with the Federal Records Act? Her original explanation was, well, I did what some of my predecessors have done. She's now changed that, and she has admitted that it was a mistake.
Right.
That she did not comply with the Federal Records Act. Category two continues to get some play, and that is, was it stamped classified?
Right.
That's fading away, McGraw, for this simple fact. Quote, classified information is marked or unmarked classified information, including oral communications, end quote. That's not some political commentator, McGraw.
Right.
That's Mrs. Clinton's own words in the federal non-disclosure agreement she signed on taking office. So the contention that, well, none of my emails was marked classified, therefore it's okay, I think that has been belied by the fact that, as you and I have talked before, classified information does not need to be stamped classified.
It's just whatever we choose at any given time at any given moment.
But more specifically, McGraw, there's some information, and this gets to category three, that information can be classified at birth, when it is said, when it is written. And that is what came up last week that is now causing so much consternation.
Because they found 1,300 emails or something that are deemed classified?
Of the 33,000 emails, so far they have classified 1,300. Last week it was revealed that 22 of them contained the highest secrecy and highest classification, top secret or SAP, Special Access Programs.
Right. So her sin is she called Charter in Chappaqua and had an email server set up as opposed to having it secured by the government?
No, I think on category one, the federal records issue, McGraw, is she used ClintonEmail.com,
right,
an email server that was housed in her home in Chappaqua,
right,
as opposed to a state.gov email, which would be a
the
government
address.
Exactly.
Okay.
It would be the server. Interestingly enough, the individual, the State Department employee who was in charge of keeping and maintaining that email server, he's taken the Fifth Amendment in terms of testimony before the Congress on all of this.
What about her deleted personal emails? Can they retrieve those?
If you talk to technical people, McGraw, they say they can.
Right.
The FBI obviously is investigating all of this, and I would think if anyone could retrieve deleted emails, the FBI could.
You would think.
We'll have to see.
Right. So her crime is that she didn't send them to a secured email address. She sent them to her personal email address.
Well,
and was it nefarious, or was it just I really don't understand all these emails. I don't want to carry around 2 phones. I mean, how egregious is that crime?
Well, let's distinguish between violating a federal statute or regulation
Right.
and committing a federal crime.
Okay.
Right now, this investigation is a counterintelligence investigation. We don't know that it has risen to a criminal. So a person, McGraw, can violate a federal statute or a federal regulation, and that violation will not rise to the level of a crime. So the first question one has to ask is, did Mrs. Clinton violate federal laws regarding classified information? The evidence is mounting that the answer to that question
is
yes.
Okay.
The second question then is, did that or other conduct rise to the level of a federal crime? In the case of David Petraeus,
Right.
Sandy Berger,
Right.
John Deutsch, it did. Whether Mrs. Clinton's conduct, irrespective of whether it was a technical violation of the Federal Records Act or she violated her requirements for classified information,
Right.
did it rise to a crime? And we'll just have to, as they say, McGraw, stay tuned.
Okay, Sandy Berger went to the National Archives and stuffed secret documents down his pants and walked out. He stole secret documents. General Petraeus gave top secret documents to his biographer, a woman he was having an affair with.
That weren't stamped classified.
But I thought they were classified whenever they want to be classified.
They were top secret,
Right.
but the fact that they didn't have his diaries did not have a stamp on it did not matter. They were still top secret documents.
Right.
Yeah.
So meaning clearly that is an egregious
Absolutely.
violation of everything that's supposed to be.
For which General Petraeus was prosecuted and convicted and sentenced.
And the Pentagon just said they're not going to bust his rank, though. They just said, whatever's fine is fine, right?
Right. Last week, Secretary Carter announced that he was going to follow the recommendation of the Secretary of the Army and not give him additional punishment
Right.
from what he has already been punished by the criminal justice system.
Right, but what was it, like probation he got or something?
He got a large fine, 2 years probation, but
Yeah.
he is guilty of a federal crime.
And we're short on time, Greg Willard, St. Louis University law professor, but the hope of the far right is that 3 weeks before the election, she is indicted for sending top secret information from her server. What are the odds of that happening?
I think you and I will have to sit down again together and see, because as we sit here today, there is no information that I have read
Right.
that clearly establishes that she committed a crime. In my judgment, there certainly has been technical violations
Right.
of the Federal Records Act and the classification requirements. But I think to conclude that she has committed a federal crime, I don't think anybody can conclusively say that today.
That is Greg Willard, St. Louis University law professor. We also say a White House attorney for Gerald Ford for a time as well, and our legal analyst. Mr. Willard, thank you very much.
Always great to be with you, my friend.
826, Big 550, KTRS. Let me talk about R&R. Let me talk about John Beal.